If you visit New York City today, you see Disneyland with skyscrapers. It's polished, it's expensive, and it's safe. But if you stepped out of a yellow cab in 1980, you were stepping into a different universe. Imagine a city that was technically bankrupt, a city where the government handed out pamphlets to tourists that explicitly said, "Stay off the streets after 6 p.m." This was the era of the rotten apple. It was dirty, it was dangerous, and it was on the verge of collapse. But ask any real New Yorker and they will tell you it was the last time the city felt truly alive. Today, we're taking a ride back to the center of the world. We're going to dodge the mugs in Times Square, ride the graffiti-covered subway, and watch how the most dangerous city on earth created the culture of the modern world. Welcome to 1980s New York. If you wanted to see the soul of 80s New York, you didn't look up at the skyscrapers. You went underground. The subway system in the 80s wasn't just transportation, it was a lawless metal dungeon. Every inch of the trains was covered in spray paint. To the city officials, it was vandalism and a sign of defeat. But to the kids from the Bronx and Brooklyn, it was a moving canvas, the Instagram of its time, where you could make your name famous across all 5 boroughs. Riding the train was a contact sport. No air conditioning, lights flickering, and a constant feeling that you needed to watch your back. Up on the surface, Times Square was a neon-lit jungle of adult theaters and hustlers. It wasn't a place for family photos. It was gritty, sleazy, and absolutely magnetic. The city felt like it was constantly on the edge of exploding. But here's the paradox of 80s New York. When you take away people's money and safety, they don't give up. They get creative. While the politicians were arguing about budgets, the kids in the South Bronx were inventing the future. They plugged turntables into streetlights and created hip-hop. It was the decade of the boombox. The music was loud, raw, and it spilled out of every window. Downtown in the East Village, artists like Jean-Michel Basquiat were turning homelessness into high art, selling paintings for thousands of dollars to the people uptown. New York in the 80s was a cultural pressure cooker. Punk rock at CBGB's, disco at Studio 54, and rap in the parks. The danger of the city made the parties feel more intense. You danced like it was your last night on Earth, because in 80s New York, it might have been. And then there was the other side of the coin. While the Bronx was burning, Manhattan was booming. If you took the train south to Wall Street, the graffiti disappeared, replaced by marble and gold. This was the playground of the Yuppies, young urban professionals. In the mid-80s, the stock market went nuclear. 25-year-olds were making millions overnight. They wore power suits, slicked their hair back, and carried brick-sized mobile phones like trophies. The gap between the rich and poor wasn't just a gap, it was a canyon. You had limousines driving past burning trash cans. Extreme luxury right next to extreme decay. It was a city of winners and losers, and in the 80s, New York didn't have much pity for the losers. By the time the 90s rolled around, the city began to clean up. The graffiti was scrubbed off the trains, Times Square was sanitized for tourists, the crime rate dropped. New York became safer, cleaner, and richer. But ask anyone who lived through the 80s and they'll tell you they missed the grit. They missed the energy of a city that had nothing to lose. It was a hard time, a dangerous time, but it was undeniably real. 1980s New York wasn't just a city, it was a survival test that looked cool as hell. Thanks for watching.